Yeah, I'm ready already. Yeah, I'm ready. Hey, you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. You ready?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 8cast. But this isn't the 8cast.
Whoa.
This is Clopfic 101,
Oh, yeah?
2, or
Yes.
whatever I think of naming it. I don't know, probably something really clever or really stupendously stupendous.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have an actual clopper with me today, folks. I actually have.
Sorry.
What would you call yourself, sir?
A total weeaboo.
Alright, we got a weeaboo. Now,
Heck yes.
I would normally read weeaboo fiction, but uh, we're gonna read something else.
Oh, yeah, we are.
This story by Zoo the Skunk is Twilight catches Spike having a wet dream.
Okay.
Yep,
Already sounds great.
let's get ready to sip our tea. Let's dive in. The discovery. It was a peaceful, cozy night here in Ponyville. The light of the moon was illuminating the empty streets. The majority of the windows were dark, with only a few remaining lights here and there. Those still up by this hour were either insomniacs or very, very busy. It
Um,
seemed that the librarian from the Golden Oaks Library was mostly the latter, and possibly a little bit of the former. A faint, flickering light of a burning candle could still be seen through the balcony on the upper level of the library, a sign that the purple unicorn was once again staying up late.
oh, boy.
Inside, Twilight Sparkle was sitting by her desk.
Twilight.
Ooh,
Twilight Spock? Okay.
a
Sounds fun.
quill encased in the unicorn magic, and was writing down what seemed to be another series of scientific observations and reports. She hummed softly to herself, occasionally shifting slightly on the comfy pillow she was sitting on. Nearby, her scaly assistant was fast asleep in his blank basket, snoring quietly and sometimes shifting around as well. After a long day of helping Twilight with various tasks in the library, Spike was more than happy to finally get some rest. Twilight took a break from writing to glance at him and watch him for a brief moment with a soft smile. She then looked at the perch that was usually occupied by her pet owl. Owlicious left a few hours ago to fly around and possibly get a late snack. Twilight looked through the open door that was leaning to the balcony and observed the night sky for a moment, wondering if she'll manage to get a glance of him against the moon. She took her head and sighed. Returning to task, she was satisfied with, with what she got. The new file of her research was just a few sentences short from being finished, and tomorrow it would be ready to be sent to her beloved teacher. Twilight smiled to herself, taking the moment to indulge herself in a little bit of self-praise over a job well done. As soon as the ink formed the dot at the end of the last sentence, she put the quill back into the inkwell and leaned back a bit to get a better look of her writings. Yes, writings. 10 full pages of a complete report for Princess Woman. The twi beamed with the glee of an A++ grade student, a wild smile adorning her face. She put the whole document inside. Oh my god, when this interesting stuff happened. Drugs.
Oh, boys.
To make sure nothing would happen to it. She then let out a big yawn and stretched a bit. It was time to go to bed and get some well-earned rest. Just then, she was about to get up and make her way to the comfy respite of her bed. Her ear caught some mumbling coming from behind her. She turned ahead and noticed Spike shifting quite a bit in his covers. She raised her eyebrow. Was he having a nightmare? Oh, yes, Rarity. Oh, Spike said, "God, Grog, you are the most beautiful pony in Equestria." Twilight relaxed and smiled a bit. Just another of Spike's Rarity dreams, nothing unusual. She got up from the pillow and then set it on its usual resting place. She then headed for her bed, which seemed to almost beam in a very reflection from all the moonlight. But just when she was passing by Spike's basket, another one of his mumblings got to her attention. "My Rarity, you sure about this? I won't want you to do anything you don't want to do." Spike stopped dead in tracks. Was he? You really like it? Even if it's not, well, gay? Great Scott! He wasn't. Wide-eyed, she quickly turned her head towards her assistant. She gasped and covered her mouth with her front hooves. Right there, in the part of the basket where the lower part of Spike's body must have been, a rather noticeable tall bulge was producing from the bed sheets. Oh, Rarity, I didn't even know you could do such things with your tongue. Oh man, don't stop.
Oh gosh.
Twilight looked at the spectacle in sheer disbelief and shock.
Gosh diddly darn it.
Her eyes the size of plates, and the pupils the size of pins. She took note of Spike being already a bit sweaty, and the way he kept shifting slightly, combined with his continuing progressively more and more obscene mumblings, made the whole situation all the more unbelievable to look at. She knew her assistant since she was a child. They got to know each other very well over the years, and by now, Twilight thought she knew pretty much everything about him, with no more surprises to be found in his small, scaly body. And yet, here it was. One aspect of not only dragons, but pretty much any known animal in retrospect was so obvious, extremely important, one that somehow managed to avoid crossing her mind even once, even in the form of a short, vague suggestion at the edge of her consciousness. She sat there on the balcony, thinking about suicide. I mean, she sat there for a good while.
Suicide is painless.
Completely speechless. It's simply absurd. Oh god, there's hair in my mouth. It's simply absurd, the completely alien behavior of the one person in her life she thought she knew to a T. What? Ow! Rarity! Your herbs are like magic. She tried to recall the few lines in her life when she attempted pursuing knowledge about these aspects of a pony life. She realized that she never really paid much attention to this kind of stuff. When the class was studying biology, she always looked at everything from a purely technical scientific standpoint. When they were having sex education, she was sick that day. When her dad tried to initiate the birds and the bees to talk, she took it, the device. A goes into the device bee way. One time she actually looked at these things the emotional way was when she visited reality one afternoon for a nice friendly chat over some tea. Somehow the conversation eventually wandered into these areas of rarity after learning to a shock that Twilight isn't particularly experienced in them. Decided to show her some of her more private collection. Twilight then spent the rest of the afternoon resembling the shade of tomato as Rarity kept showing her more and more meanders of how to, and in some extreme cases, more ponies can be to each other. She was mostly limited to making her way through a book of lots of pictures, but Rarity had a few more things to show as well. All the knowledge Twilight got was that that they was up to this point kept locked in that section of her mind called "Do not touch unless really needed for your own sanity." And now all that shameful knowledge kept resurfacing as Spike and the imaginary Rarity seemed to slowly check off various positions from the long list of various intimidate activities to engage in. Try to realize to her own horror that she remembered the names of all the things she was doing. As time went on, she became a bit accustomed to the sight of, well, excited Spike, and the shock was slowly replaced with fascination. 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 On both an emotional and scientific level. She didn't really know anything about the dragon's meat. Mate! Let alone having a chance to mate! Witness them doing it. Some to think of it, she never saw two ponies say doing it either. She was always just something she I screwed that up. It was always just something she only looked at in a book. Therefore, she simply couldn't help but be curious. It was her first time seeing anyone doing anything bad in real life.
Whoa.
Especially right in front of her. She slowly took her front hooves away from her mouth and put them on the ground. She then gasped and looked down. She realized, to a shock and embarrassment, that she got so excited over this entire situation that she managed to make the ground wet with her own bodily juices coming from her own genitals. That was mortifying feeling, but it was still tons better than that afternoon with woman 2, as she remembered just now. Okay, during her educational session with the book, Twilight managed to make a huge stain on the sofa they were sitting on, to the point that I was dripping into the ground. What the hell? Probably only Rarity's good manners prevented her from commenting on it, although Twilight swore she could remember Rarity first looking aghast at the sofa, only to put on a hopefully comforting smile seconds later. Come to think of it, Breaking Dawn could also remember that when she was finally leaving the boutique, she could hear a gem woman shouting from the inside, "Sweetie, Bells, can you please bring me a towel and some air freshener?" Twilight brought her attention back to Spike, judging from his mumblings. And the imaginary Rarity was the whole point of crap. We're at this point in the middle of something involving lots of rope and leather. And whips. Lots of whips.
Ooh.
Twilight.
Are we gonna watch Indiana Jones?
Twilight winced. What? Oh yeah. At the aspect. There are various interesting things she saw in that fateful book. But this category of kinky didn't lie among the things she personally found appealing. She turned to attention again with the mount stiff, which towered over the surrounding landscape, just the same way it did when she first saw it. Remember, she licked her lips. What?
What?
Remember, she licked her lips shakily. Sweat was dripping from her forehead as she was breathing deeply. She felt an urge. She never got a chance to do anything intimate, ever. She seldom even knew about it. And everything she knew about it came from books alone. And here it was, a brand new, unexplored area. A whole mountain to examine in detail, which arose in the middle of a previously familiar terrain. Her eye twitched. She wanted to explore it. She raised a hoof to her mouth again, only subconsciously taking note of the intense smell she could feel coming from it as a result of being in contact with her bodily fluids. No, she can't do that. That's Spike, her number one assistant. Still a baby dragon. You pedophile. Even if by pony standards, he should be considered an adult at this point. She's like a brother to her. Sometimes almost a son. She wouldn't do that with her own son, right? Incest and pedophilia. I like it. She kept sitting there, watching. What?
Watching
The invitation mountain.
Oh.
In an almost hypnotized state, while Spike kept asking Rarity to punish him harder for being such a bad dragon. Twilight licked her lips again. It wouldn't hurt just to look at it, right? Yes, it would. Slowly, Twilight tried to raise from the spot she was sitting at for the past few minutes. She gasped when she felt her. Well, moist and Quandas get in contact with the chili. I'm sorry. It's just like when I tried to get up closer at the edge of my seat. It's a leather chair, so my butt was stuck to the leather and just pulled it. Where was I? Hindquarters.
Yeah.
Get in contact with a chilly breeze from the opened balcony. She turned her head to look at the aforementioned balcony, and the glow of her magic illuminated the room briefly as the doors were closed silently. She was too worked up at the moment to think about how Owlicious could get back into the library. Was that really his name later on? There were more pressing matters on her mind right now. She then slowly walked her way around the basket, stopping only when she was facing both the fascinating bulge and Spike's head. She sat down, returning to her act of watching the former in silent awe. She wasn't paying much attention to what the furry creature was saying at this point, for what little made its way to her subconscious. She figured that Spike's scaly rear must be crimson red at this point. What?
What?
She sat there for a while in silence. She tapped her front hooves against each other nervously, an ancient frown making its way onto her face. It'll be just a glance, she reasoned. No big deal. It's just Spike. It would be wrong. That's right. What right do I have to look at without his permission? You know it's Nick Crompton. Sorry, wrong thing. But then she remembered. Almost every human in Humanville walks around naked. By this point, Spike probably saw the genitals of half the population of the city. He must have seen her genitals so many times over that he would probably draw a perfect picture of them from his memory alone. What the hell? It's only fair that she gets to see his genitals at least once, too. But did he ever see anyone's genitals while they were aroused? She could feel the sweat dripping from her, and a new stain of her liquid excitements forming beneath her. She licked her lips once again. Stop licking your lips.
Yeah,
Her gaze
please.
clocked on the bulge. So inviting! Having finally...
I feel really invited right now.
So do I. Having finally made a decision, she slowly leaned forward. She then encased the closest border of the bed sheets with her magic and, after taking a deep breath, started raising it up. She saw Spike's tail, then his feet, knees, and she let go of the bed sheets and looked away wide-eyed, so fast that she felt a sharp pain in her neck. With a wince and a quiet ow. Owl! Oh, sorry. Owl, not owl. Owl?
Ow? Is he online?
No. I wish it was. She started rubbing it, hissing in pain. She then looked again at Spike, who was still busy indulging in about every perversion she could think of. She got a thought of what to with the real rarity heard all these mumblings. She would. Twilight didn't really know what rarity would do, but she had a feeling that it would definitely be embarrassing. She sighed. Okay, let's try this again slowly. She once again activated her magic to grab the sheets. Very carefully this time. She started lifting them up. She could feel her heart pounding with every inch. The already familiar sight of Spike's lower body started unveiling itself. First the tail, then the legs, and then she saw it. Glorious Russia. It was. She
It
popped.
was glorious.
Oh no, it's happening again. She stopped dead in her tracks. Only a slight part was visible at the moment, but she could already see how it was connected to Spike's body. Thank you. As she knew well, there were bright green plates going across Spike's entire belly, starting with his chin, then going on away to the underside of his tail, or the lower part of his belly, more or less in the area of the crotch. Two of the plates were sliding upwards and downwards, revealing a fleshy area behind them. From there, the thing was coming out and proudly towering over the surroundings, akin to a volcano that was ready to erupt at any moment. Twilight bit her lip. A sweat drop ran down her nose. Her heart was pounding constantly, and her nether regions were leaking like a broken faucet. She then got the courage to continue going upwards.
The broken faucet. Okay. You got me there. You got me there.
Holy sweet Celestia! Oh, my neighbors heard that. She finally got it completely uncovered, and in a moment of slack-jawed awe, she dropped in the bed sheets, letting them land on the upper side of the Spike's body, and keeping the thing perfectly visible to the world. She stared at it in complete silence, only interrupted by Spike's continuing mumblings. It's almost as long as his leg, she thought, her eyes once again the size of plates. Well, overall, quite familiar. I mean, familiar. Oh my god. To what an average this horse had in stock. Spike's member had quite a few notable differences, which were immediately picked up by her scientific mind. No ring in the middle of the shaft. Numerous shall small. I'm screwing up so much at this point.
Yeah, you know. Just gotta accept it.
Numerous small bumps across its length. Oh no, my god! Welcome to Friendly YouTube. Numerous small bumps across its length, which reminded Twilight of some of the toys Rarity was showing her. What? The top lacking the cavity. You gotta get a dentist for that. That divides one side in half. No visible child factories, and also it was very, very pink. Not pink. The other kind of pink. Yes, pink. She licked her lips. My god,
Can you not lick your lips, please?
that's her fetish.
Probably, actually.
Spike took this exact moment to go back to his act of shifting around slightly. This caused his prize to wobble a bit with each movement. Twilight watched this little dance completely hypnotized. Down below, what was previously a small stream now turned into a waterfall. Her eye twitched. I must touch it, she thought. But you can't, because that's illegal. He's still a child. You idiot. Slowly, as if trying not to scare a shy animal, she raised her hoof taking note of the fact that by this point she was sitting in the middle of the puddle, even bigger than the previous one, and moved it towards the thing. Closer. Closer. Twilight gasped and moved her hoof away in surprise. It was warm. Very warm. After calming down a bit, with her heart still pounding like crazy, she once again moved her hoof towards it, and eventually she touched it for the second time. She couldn't help it but get a goofy smile on her face when she felt the warm shift staff against her soft hoof. It was indeed warm. It was the kind of warmth that a towel would have after lying on the furnace for a bit and then cooling down a little. It was an inviting kind of warmth. She liked that warmth. Very warmth. Without really thinking about it, she started slowly rubbing the shaft. She bit her lip, feeling an indescribable happiness inside herself that was making her smile become goofier and goofier with each passing second. She could feel that although the member was mostly smooth, the little bumps across its length were adding something incredible to the already ecstatic concoction. Her mind reached a kind of simple-minded bliss. But then, something brought her back to the planet Humanville. Oh yes, Nick Crompton. I do love it when you rub it. Please don't stop. Twilight stopped briefly. Yeah, what the hell? She blinked a few times, and then a devilish smile adorned her lips. Her collar was staying poppin' as she started rubbing the shaft even faster than before. This caused Spike to moan, and she realized it wasn't the sleepy, groggy kind of moans from before, but instead a genuine moan of pleasure. This stimulated her ego in just the same way a word of approval from Princess Celestia would. A feeling of doing something right and feeling something because of it. And she liked that feeling. She leaned closer and brought to mind. Oh my god. She leaned closer and brought her second hoof to the shaft. Started to shake the thing up and down. Not too fast, but not too slow either. The resulting moans that came from her dragon assistant made her ego grow to a size that would put the great and powerful Trixie to shame. Each passing second made her feel as if something that was previously restraining her all her life was right now falling into pieces. It made her feel free. It made her feel like a bad girl, but one that does something she isn't supposed to, but doesn't care in the slightest, and she loved that feeling. Now, really put in a playful mood, she felt that just rubbing the thing wasn't enough. She needed to do something else, something that even better than before, and really put the show into motion. She pondered for a moment while continuing to stroke the member. Turn page. And then, she got an idea. An awful idea. She got a wonderful, awful. What the heck? Send a message. Okay, he left. She got a wonderful, awful idea. What a wide smile on her face that would make a demon from Tartarus run away screaming. She leaned even closer to the thing, holding it tightly, but not too tightly. In her hooves, she stopped when her muzzle was mere inches away from it. She let her tongue out of her lips and then, almost getting high in the magic of the moment, she touched the member with it very slowly in what she thought was an unspeakable act of pure, unforgivable decadence. She slid her tongue across the entire length of what was going on here? Oh! Spike moaned loudly, almost arcing his back in half. Twilight moved her foot moves a few inches away. A whine, devilish smile once again adorned her face. That was it! At the moment! Everything else melted away, leaving only the desire to get as much as such loud, primal approval as possible. She was a star student, and she was going to get an A++ grade in this exam as well. And the examiner was going to love it. With this massive injection of courage, she once again let her thing out and touched the thing with it. Thing it the same way like before, but this time deciding to thing and thing with thing. The accompanying moans of thing from her member. One assistant made her almost drunk with pride. Yes, the little bumps on the mine shaft were adding an amazing, if a little surreal feeling that made her all the more willing to forgive this exam. Her best performance, the member, to her mind of surprise, tasted a bit like strawberries. This reminded her that, at least according to Gem Woman book number 2, um, big muscle men ones don't have a taste at all. Maybe being a bit salty at best. Weird drunken, so unique and what did I say in that regard? Was Spike doing something weird with it earlier in the day? She then tried moving up and giving the top of the book some love as well, as she used the tip of the marker to make circles around the glands. Spike seemed to be nearly having a seizure. Oh yes! Oh yes! Rarity! I love you so much! Ah! Spike said, crazily, like a man who's having a seizure, because he is. Twy Girl felt giddy inside. Such simple actions on her part, and yet they were giving both sides so much delight. She then took her bookmark away to glance at the book. Why limit yourself? And with book, she booked the book with the book, but she closed the book to open it to read the book, and closed it again to give it a lick and read it one last time before closing it for good and sending it to the moon. I mean, feeling amazing feeling. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the amazing feeling of feeling amazingly feeling. It's so warm, slowly savoring this moment. She started sliding back up. She could feel the bumps brushing against her lips and her tongue while she did it. This, combined with a loud moan of Spike let out a nearly intoxicating taste of strawberries, which made Spylight become completely lost in the act. When she reached the glands, she started to feel a series of moans. A what? Oh, sorry. She started moving down again, taking note of the different, but just as amazing feeling of the bumps going back in. What? All the while, Spike kept letting out another series of books. They were called Harry Potter. When she reached to the bottom, she didn't waste any time and started moving back up, this time faster, and she won the race by going down again, even faster than before. And up and down, 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 and up down, and down, and down, and down, and down, and down. And suddenly, instead of a moan, she heard a loud gasp. Both she and her heart stopped at an instant. Oh no. Oh no. With a nice block inside her chest, she very, very slowly looked up. Spike was still asleep, and she was looking wide-eyed straight at her. Straight at him, sorry. And due to the fact that he wasn't particularly tall, his face was at best 10 inches away from hers. In complete silence, the two were simply staring at each other speechlessly, without even moving a muscle. Some chirping crickets could be heard in the distance. After what seemed like an eternity, Spike slowly looked down. This woman then realized, to her pure horror, that she was still sleeping. Oh my god, it's like 9 a.m., wake up. And that Spike could see from very, very close her holding his penis and what? And that she was holding him with both of her front hooves, and that she's leaning in her entire body over it, and that there is he swinging to the right as she let a huge puddle underneath her, which was giving out. She just realized a very strong smell. Twilight could feel a tear forming in her eye. Being thrown into a dungeon in the palace while you were banished to world be way too kind. Spike looked at her again, then at his weenie, then back at her, then back at his wee, then back at her. She bit his lip and slowly scratched his head. So, he started. I'm sorry. He then asked, "Why is my wee green?"